perspective. Let me explain what I mean. Remember, I said that the woman who I'm best designed to serve are these women who um, inevitably reach that fork in the road, right? So these are the women who have always been different. Patriarchal world feels very unnatural to them. They are high perceivers of lies. They just don't fit in with the normal world. And they come from a bloodline that's literally drawn to do restorative work, corrective work, righteous work, healing work, justice seeking work, power work. Okay, so these are people who come from this bloodline. So it's very real for them. It's not like they got inspired by a TikTok video or they saw some spiritual videos on YouTube and was like, ooh, I'm inspired to be a spiritualist now. Okay, that kind of a thing. And so for that woman versus everybody else, right? For that woman, it's not a preferably, well, preferably, think about it, maybe not that big a deal, right? So this is what I mean by preferably is for the, the trickle down for the everybody else. And this is why it's so important to know who you are, because when you, first of all, you can't fake this, but when you know that you are normal, and there's nothing wrong with normal, it's just really just knowing who you are. Okay, versus the woman who I've described, who this is ideally for, or who I am and who's drawn to me. You need to have people help you with this. You need some kind of pro master, whether it's me or somebody else. Okay, it's going to take one, a hell of a lot longer for you to do it by yourself. Two, you're going to like stop and start a lot unnecessarily. And there's great potential that you could kill yourself, you could create unnecessary harm. Um, yeah, and there's just, you could have a hell of a lot more impact if you had help. How about that? Okay. Versus another woman, she could do a lot of like what I'm talking about. She could do this in some kind of way on her own, and whatever kind of comfortable ways that she likes, and whatever, right? She doesn't threaten too much. So, two, you want to get help, and you need to get help with somebody, and your soul knows. This is actually very easy. Your soul knows, right? When you're in the relationship with the soul, when you're moving from the soul knows. So you don't have to be like, well, is it her? Is it him? You know. And additionally, so three, with the refinement of your emotions and carrying over the five key pieces that I said you're going to need, which are empathy, compassion, patience, curiosity, and whatever the fifth one was, you need to carry those into the parts of you. So I'll enter it here. You know the mind that you have, that you actually have, and then the mind that you use to function out in the world, right? There's like how you really think, insights you have, and oftentimes a lot of this is taken for granted because it's just you with you in here. And then there's the world, the you out here, because you know how the world works, right? You know how to play it safe, you know how to get along with people, you know how to sort of like be hidden in plain sight with people. And so a lot of the entry door, I'll say, the entry door for getting to access your ticking time bombs could be through the mind, the quiet mind that you have, and through where you find intense emotions within yourself. The ones that you either have expressed so you're consciously aware of them, or noticing what you avoid. So let me say all this again differently, okay? So to begin to refine your emotions, right? You got to know what the emotions are, what it's about, right? So this is all conscious work. And you're bringing forth these five elements: compassion toward yourself, empathy with yourself, curiosity with yourself, patience with yourself, and authenticity. There they are, okay? And to just quickly piggyback on how to refine your emotions so you can help you and others. When you're helping others, you are helping yourself. I actually almost had that as the title. That helping people is highly emotional, because while you think you're helping others, you're actually helping yourself. Okay. They're a level of reflection, especially depending on where you are in your development. So as you're taking these 5, compassion, curiosity, all that, and you're bringing it over to these ticking time bombs in you in the form of emotions, okay? And you're dealing with things that you're conscious of, right? So you're consciously aware that rage in you is triggered when someone shuts you down, right? You're consciously aware that you feel like you want to murder somebody when you are ignored, right? You're consciously aware that you want to do something aggressive when, right? So all that is in your conscious awareness. Then there's the things that you notice you avoid. Now, this takes a little bit more work because we oftentimes habituate avoiding so much that we don't even notice when we're doing it. Okay. So you start to notice there's so many ways to go about this, and this is personal. So I would rather have an actual person in front of me with an example. But let me dig. Here's one. I wish I had something more recent though. So what we're looking for here is how to identify the things that we so habitually avoid that we don't even notice that we're doing it. So because this is so custom and it really depends on the person, this is how we'll take it considering I'm on a TikTok live stream. When you're engaging with the bombs inside yourself that you're consciously aware of, because remember I said a lot of this is repressed, right? So if it's repressed, you're not consciously aware of it. When you're dealing with what you are consciously aware of, like I just gave potential examples, you go into that with this is a conversation with yourself, with the intention and saying to yourself, and I'm willing to be exposed to the repressed bombs within myself. Because then that's when your signature bombs start to reveal themselves to you. And it'll start to click because the knowledge from them, when they start to, because when you like seeking, ye shall find, it's the energy of that. When you are intentionally dealing with your conscious time bombs and you say, I'm open to being exposed to myself, I'm open to revealing bombs that I have repressed up until now, that I have avoided up until now. That mind that I told you that you have, that's just the mind you never say out loud versus the mind that you live out in the world. There's a communication between that quiet mind and your repressed bombs where it starts to click, and then you can deal with them with the 5 pieces that I mentioned: the compassion, the patience, all the things. Does this make sense? I feel like it does, but I want to check in. This is how you begin to refine your emotions by yourself. Okay, so I've already made it clear that when you're normal, you can do this by yourself. When when your mere presence is an affront to the status quo, you're a dangerous woman. You do not want to do this by yourself. I've made that clear. Any questions about what I've shared so far? Hi, YouTube. So before I get to answering questions and things, if you really want to be in a community that engages these 5 pieces or elements or whatever you would call them: patience, authenticity, compassion, curiosity, truth, you most definitely need to make your way into my women community. Okay. Doors are going to be open for 1 week and 1 week only next week. And your path to coming into the community is coming to my womanhood initiation. There's only going to be 4 of them, and those 4 initiations are happening next week and next week only. To sign up for a womanhood initiation, which is your gateway into my woman community, you want to go to the link in my bio, click it, and look for womanhood initiation. I think there's 5 or 6 options. You want to look for womanhood initiation. Okay. Again, this is if you want to be deliberate, conscious, and active around not only refining your emotions, that's just such a small piece of it, but coming home to your sexual self. Each woman is targeting different things, working in different ways. Right now, we're partnered up with each other, weekly meeting with each other. And what I'm always encouraging is that you start with your sexual self. When you start there, the reason why I even have my own all energies process, which is for free right now. I was going to say the Bible. Yeah, the Bible in the bio is because when you start with your sexual self is your real self. Okay, your sexual self is your real. Remember, we talked about the mind that you never say out loud, and then the mind you use to get along in the world. Your quiet mind is your sexual self. That's your real self. That's the self that makes buying decisions, bigger ones, not the one that's typically buying your toothpaste and all the things you buy habitually, but the things that you're buying that matter in a significant way, that have to do with change, relationships, healing. It's your quiet mind that's making the decisions. And that quiet mind is a sexual mind. You might not see it that way, but it is. And so if you start there, first of all, you save yourself time. These people who doing inner child work and then doing this work and then start as sexual work, and that drastically infuses every other part of your life. Every other part of your life. So I strongly recommend that you get my own all energies process to help you with owning your sexual self, your primal self. You can get it for free right now with the link in my Bible. Go up there and own all energies. It's up there. You can get it right now. All right. So let me see if there's any questions. Oh, I missed so much. Oh wow, I missed a lot, huh? Sometimes I need to focus. I can't be looking at the comments while I'm trying to make a point or while I am making a point. Thank you all, Glenn. Chris, I'm starting where I see someone is, was this Alkin? And so that's where I'm starting, by the way, who said, genuinely appreciate you. Chris said, I feel this is why it's better that people who read my poetry do not know me at all. Because if they know me, they try to understand the poetry through their knowledge of me. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Hey. But if they do not know me, they more readily. Yeah, there you go. I get that. Totally. So that's how I can approach the meaning of the poem. Yep. Is dangerous past self-employment? Not necessarily. The face painter asked, is dangerous past self-employment? No, not necessarily. You could be a married, I mean, there's different ways. Like I was on the phone with a woman, I think it was last night, and she has a mentor who's choosing to hide and to work in that kind of a way. Like not everybody is called to be public facing. That's why I've made it clear. And there's actually a piece of content that's going to go up today about particularly women who are called to be public facing, because there's a lot of women who's called to do powerful work, but they're not called to be public facing. Being public facing is a very specific, position in life. So to answer your question, is the dangerous past self-employment? Not necessarily. This is why I don't get much involved with the reader's experience. Very good. That shit, yeah, that's a smart, that's a good idea. Uh, which will show up as health issues if not healed. Yeah, that's a thing. I can see where that could have fit in many points when I was talking. I feel like I was at a peak in my femininity and lost it. Okay. Something that always trips me up is how many people have potential but don't use it. Yeah, don't get lost in that. It's been that way for millennia. So really, I don't know how much time you invest there, but it could be a really just convenient way to keep your attention locked away from you. I'm not saying that's what it is, but if you spend an obscene amount of time thinking about it, I would suggest that it's a really tricky distraction. I'm practicing daily. It's never done. Just levels up. Very true. Why can't a powerful woman do it by herself? So in case you missed, and for anyone else who just got here who may have missed what I said earlier, I have a very clear delineation between normal women, average women. All women are powerful. And there's a very clear delineation between everyday women, normal women, average women, and the women, particularly who I am and who I'm called to serve. And you got to know who you are. When you know who you are, you understand it, especially when you're the woman who I serve, you know exactly what I mean. So when you say, why can't a powerful woman do it by herself? A powerful woman can do it by herself. Every woman is powerful. The woman who I'm talking about, who comes from a bloodline of warriors, restoring justice and truth and dealing in basically everything that women were shamed and killed for. Okay. Everything that women were shamed and killed for centuries, just for being women who were connected. All those things that women were shamed, killed, and raped for, the women who are particularly drawn to me and invest money to work with me are here to restore that. So when you're here to restore the very things that women were killed and raped and destroyed for, you are walking around with a kind of potency and energy and compulsion and a pull and a call in a way that the average woman who wants to be a wife and mom, which is nothing wrong with those things, but who's very satisfied and pleased, and it's enough for her to live a normal life, a nice life, a life in the suburbs, and travel a couple of times a year and be cute, and that's enough for her. The woman who I'm called to, it's a very different relating to life. It's a very different relationship with reality. This woman has never fit in. She's strange. She does not fit in and adapt well to patriarchal systems or anything where lies exist. Most human beings are very okay, even with low levels of frustration and dislike and resentment. Most humans are okay living in oppressive systems. They are okay living in a world full of lies. They are okay with agreeing to patriarchal systems or any systems that are infused with lies and distortion. You have to know yourself to even understand what I'm talking about. So when you ask the question, why can't a powerful woman do it by herself? First of all, a powerful woman can do it by herself because all women are powerful, all of them. And the delineation of woman who I'm talking about is a very distinct and different woman who's of a very distinct and particular bloodline. Does that make sense? This is why I have said repeatedly that there would be a lot less debates in the world and arguments if people just knew who they were. Because, for example, if you are currently a wife and a mom and a school teacher, and I said to you, this is for people who are magicians and gardeners and lawyers, would you be like, how come what you wouldn't argue that you're an attorney, so why can't you? No, because you know that you're a teacher, a mom, and a wife. When people don't know who they are, they're arguing people up and down and left and right. When it's like, when you know who you are, you know what's for you and what's not for you. You don't need to go into other people's lives and be like, who told you you could do that? And why can't we do that? And what did you because you know who you are. And you can identify other things and say, oh yeah, that's not for me. And you can look at other people and say, oh, I see why that's for her. Oh, I see why she likes that. Because of who she is. Yeah. Hey, Karen, the way you show time and be engaged and ask some questions, you need to be ready to pay some money. And if you genuinely don't have the money, I get that. But with the way you emanate, yeah, they are comfortable in the everyday. And I want to reiterate that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, why you don't get mad? You choose it every day. You just you know who you are. You don't be arguing with people like that. Yeah, knowing oneself, and that itself is difficult. And this is why I'm giving you guys some how to on how to refine your emotions, because when you can do this stuff by yourself and really bring those five pieces that I said, the empathy, the compassion, the patience, the curiosity, because when you bring that and things come up out of you that you don't like, your ego mind don't like, or things that you can feel is a disturbance to your current reality, because when you really start with sincerity and intention, going after the unconscious ticking time bombs in yourself, they're a ticking time bomb for a reason. And that reason is often because once upon a time you were shameful about it, you got rejected about it, it wasn't welcome somewhere in your family. You didn't know what to do with it. It was pain around it. It was trauma around it. And so you pushed it down. And then when you push it down, then you go off and you create a life based on a repressed self, right? So the repression could start at 3 years old. You could start at 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so you've been repressing, let's say, since you were 7 years old, and now here you are 37, right? And the life you've been living from 7 to 37 is a series of distortions and avoiding your real self and lies and making sure you can get along with people. And part of the way repression works is that when you do this for so long, when you're in the process of living a distorted self for so long, you actually start to believe that you are the distorted version of you. So what happens is, because you believe that you are however you would identify yourself now, and then you start engaging this work that I've been talking about on this live stream to actively, intentionally, and deliberately go into the ticking time bombs by starting with the ones that are conscious to you, that are hostile and aggressive and vitriolic and send you into a kind of madness, with the intention to hit the ones that are repressed and to getting to know your sexual self, etc. If you are beating yourself up and shaming yourself, you're gonna, first of all, not get down to the root of it. Two, when something comes up and you shame it and you're scared of it and you're impatient and lacking empathy and compassion, you're gonna push it back down. You're going to start projecting onto other people. You're going to start creating unnecessary harm towards yourself or other people. It's just so many things that could not be very useful depending on how you're looking at it. And so this is why I'm really emphasizing that you bring that empathy toward yourself, authenticity, truth, and just allow, like, really be okay. And just know, I'm just telling you now in advance, that's what's going to happen. And this is the connection right here. I just realized you have believed the distorted self that you are, right? People who talk to you with doubt and like stories about who they are and are not, that's doubtful and fearful and right, everything that keeps people in their own hell. And then what happens is everything that's in your unconscious mind that's around these ticking time bombs, that's hostile and vitriolic and shameful and all that, and it starts to come up. Part of the turbulence is that they're conflicting this person that you've been living, the distortion of you that you think you are or are not, and then the information that comes up. Like, if you think you're a good person, Like this was one of mine once upon a time. I just thought I was such a good person. I'm a good person. How many of you here see yourself as a good person? I'm a good person. You know what I mean? I don't know why they tripping. Like I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Then I went to a 3-day business conference. 3-day business conference. And on the surface, it looked like a business conference. And it was in many ways. Very much strategy. It was called Monetize Your Message years ago in Orlando, Florida, with Fabienne Fredrickson, a white French woman who moved to the United States. She's back in Paris now, but she was living in the US at the time. And I'm at this 3-day conference in Orlando, like, I'm a good person. Right? Because aren't you a good person? I'm a good person. So this is what I mean, the distorted self, because you repress everything about you that's actually ugly and mean and fill in the blank, right? Right? All of that is repressed. And you come out in here in the world as a good person. And so much of what happened at that conference was about speaking high vibrational language. And, she has us shouting out these things that are positive and affirming. And she had this DJ there who was playing this high vibrational music, and she had flowers all around, and she had us hugging each other. And then when we would break out for lunch, there was a restaurant, she would encourage us to meet up for lunch and to check on each other. And it was just this high vibe. Okay. Now on the surface, everybody's like, yeah, I want high vibes. Aren't y'all like high frequency, high vibes, right? Girl, you better keep your frequency up, girl. And a lot of people don't even really know what that looks like and feels like, because we live in a world of duality. Even if you're like, I don't live in duality, I live in oneness. When you go to the sink to wash your dishes, there's hot and cold water there. Okay? When you're driving and you got to go a direction, you have to pick left or right. Okay? So no matter what, we're living down here where duality exists. Okay? And hold on, I got to verify again on TikTok. Come on, cut it out. Fix yourself. That's what you do. Fix yourself. What do you want? Like, do it yourself. Every now and then, I'm unable to verify. Here we go. There we go. So, high vibrational event, day 2. And here's the thing about duality and high vibration. So, duality meaning good and bad, up and down, high vibration, low vibration. Okay. And then any direction you go, any direction, okay? Whether you are, like, if you're somebody who goes to the bottom of life, right? You have been homeless on the street, you've been like at what would be considered the bottom of life, emotionally, energetically, etc. What a lot of people don't know on a spiritual level is that means you have great propensity to be rich because you have had the human experience of going to the bottom of life. Like you have that angle of the polarity. And the same happens when you go high, right? So that's low frequency. And then you go high frequency, right? If you go high frequency, like just think about times you've had in your life. Maybe you went mountain hiking, or you had some strenuous workout, or you engaged in something that got your heart rate up in a big way. You had to really push through that thing, and you almost was like, I can't, but you kept going, whatever it was, right? And you have this high vibrational, euphoric heavenly, otherworldly high, right? And it's so lovely. And then you come back down, right? So this is an example of energetic polarity. So what happened for me at this high vibrational event, I'm like, right, I'm in it. Like you would be at a high vibrational event. Flowers and sounds and beauty and laughter and affirmations and positivity and music and good and moving the body and hugging and ah. And after the conference, I think we went to dinner or something afterwards. Went back to my hotel room and sat down, like wow, what a day, right? And I'm in this spin of sorts. I'm in an energetic high. I'm in this energetic spin. And I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden, this kind of madness comes over me. What? But something says, don't leave the room. Don't leave the room. Don't leave the room. Because it's like part of me like wants to leave. Like, what's he got? Right? So then I just start moving, walking at high pace around the room. Walking at high pace around. And I was like, what's going on here? Because it didn't make sense because I've been at this high vibrational event. I've been high all day. This is the best thing that's been happening to me in a while. My God. Orlando, Florida. And I remember I just, and then I went to the mirror, the bathroom mirror, and I just looked at myself and my eyes were bloodshot red. And tears just started coming just out the blue, just tears. And I'm looking at myself and I don't leave. I just, and then it just kept, because I'm great, high. Oh my God, I'm gonna win it life. And I'm telling you, you could not manufacture this. And it just hit me. I'm the devil too. Like the polarities just hit, just like that. I'm the devil too. It was just so, but not only did that hit, like I'm the devil too, there was an acceptance of it. There wasn't this like, oh my God, so what does that mean about me? I can't, oh my God. No, that's not true. That's not true. Look, you remember you just said that you are a powerful being at this conference. Stop calling yourself that. That is negative. You are not, no. You're a good person. You're decent. You're kind. Didn't you invest to come to this conference? You are about growth and abundance, and that is all you're about. Remember that. That is a lie. When you start going after your ticking time bombs, you will find the parts of you that are ugly. And nobody is gonna walk around and tell you, yeah, I actually made a whole plan to kill that nigga. Right? Like not out loud, maybe to a friend. No one's gonna come online and say, yeah, I actually like being broke. I find such a thrill in being broke, and then the adrenaline rush of going to make the money and paying the bill right at the deadline. I love it. And then running out of money and feeling like destitute. Oh God, I love the thrill of that. No one's gonna say, I love punishing people. I love it. I'm such a sadist. I'm such a sadist. I love acting like I'm being kind, but I'm really being kind because I expect them to give to me in 2 weeks when I need this thing. No one says, I know I'm not actually serious about this relationship, but gosh, he gives good head. And I know that all I need to do is do like this because I can see where he's lacking in affection from women. So I'm going to give him all this affection, but I'm out this motherfucking like 3 weeks. Like no one is like proud and just walking around talking about all this shit that ain't cool. And so when you started pushing all this stuff down a long time ago, shit that you have completely forgot about, and they just live in you quiet while you're acting out this other self. And then you start doing the work to deliberately touch the ticking down. Everything you forgot about how ugly you are. Shameful things that you forgot that you feel shame about, they're going to erect themselves. And it's all to bring you into full power. This is not for you to run from it and be like, oh shit, Because right now I can see how some of y'all's conscious mind could be like, man, I don't know if I want to do all that. That seemed kind of, nah, we're going to keep this just like that. Because you think that you'll be unlovable, all the things. And please know that everybody, even the people who will have a problem with you at first, your mom, your friends, your spouse, even though they will have a problem with you at first, you stick with it and they will come around. And the people who don't come around, you don't want them around anyway, because they were never really around for you. They are around for the version of you that is distorted and is living in lies. And those people who had a problem, like your mom, but then comes around, they will then begin bending to your will. This is an exceptional kind of power. I'm glad, Cherie. Hi, beautiful help. What's up, YouTube? Does anybody have any questions about anything that I just shared or would like me to elaborate on anything that I just shared? There's one other piece here. I'm going to be wrapping up soon because my battery is low. uh, so, if there's nothing more, well, if you are hungry for support, if you're hungry for support in cultivating your power, if it's really important to you to be seen for all of who you are and part of your reconciliation and ownership of who you are, if you know you need to start having conversations that you never have, but you think it all the time, like somebody said here, you say things that I never say out loud. And that's part of how we keep ourselves encaged and withdrawn and closed, so we never have our manifestation power, our creative power is never activated because we're not talking these powerful things that we only think quietly about. So if you know you need to start having these very compelling, taboo, dangerous, hot, feminine powered conversations, you most definitely need to make your way into my womanhood initiations. Remember, there's 4 of them happening next week and next week only. You can register by going to the link in my bio and clicking Womanhood Initiation. There's going to be 4 of them. So even if you can't make the one on Monday, just know there's going to be 3 more of them, and they're all at different times throughout the week, specifically so that at least one of those times should work for you. We got one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the late afternoon, one in the middle of the day, one on Sunday. So there's 4 different dates and times. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you cannot make it on Monday, but you know you want to come, register, and you will get the dates for all the other ones. You'll get the invitation for all the other dates and times. There's one on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday, and one on Sunday. Next week and next week only. So you go to the link in my bio, click it, and click Womanhood Initiation. If you're on YouTube, the link is in the description. Okay. I'm from everywhere, Christopher. I'm from San Francisco, born and raised. All right, let me see. Cherie said, will you elaborate on the revealing of yourself and the acceptance of not everyone accepting you? On the revealing. So what aspect of it? Because the revealing of yourself is one angle of part of the question. Then acceptance of not everyone accepting you. So is this more so how do you accept yourself as you start to be revealed to yourself? Is it more like that? Thank you, Jimmy. How to show yourself grace. Is it possible to maintain relationship with family and the culture and beliefs are opposed to yours? Opposed. So the key word in your question, and I'm going to get to you, Cherie, but clarify for me if that's what you meant, because I want to narrow in. So Shakti, the key word in your question for me is opposed. So when I hear opposed, I hear that they're actively against you. If they're actively against you, then no, you can't be in a relationship with them. You can't be in an active, progressive relationship with you if they are actively against you, actively not supporting you, actively, you know, shunning you, etc. They have to be in agreement with the relationship. Give me 1 second. I just got this dress yesterday. I really like it. They have multiple colors. Okay, so if there's another piece to the question, Shakti, then you can, if I misunderstood something, you can just rewrite the question in a more succinct way. You're welcome, Chris. Okay. I can't even begin to imagine being my full self in front of my in-laws. Mm-hmm. So this is what I wanted to say about maybe it'll come back to me. Yeah, I think I'm about ready to wrap up, unless something else comes to me. I'm just waiting to see if any lingering questions come through. Last time I shut down YouTube, thinking I was getting ready to shut things down, and then ended up going like another 15 minutes on TikTok, and I was like, I should have kept YouTube going. So I'm gonna wait a little bit just to see. Are we complete? I had another piece that I was gonna add here, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. I look forward to seeing your faces. For those of you who feel called to my woman community, and we'll be coming to Womanhood Initiation next week. More details to come. I've been here for quite a while, so I don't know if there's a recap. You can go over to YouTube. How about that? Do you like to watch any of the replays here? Because like right now as I'm live, I'm also live simultaneously on YouTube. And almost every time that I'm live here, almost every time, like 99% of the time when I'm live here, I'm also live on YouTube. So what that means is you can go watch the replay. And to access the replays, you can go up to my bio on TikTok and there is a YouTube icon and you click on that and that'll bring you over here to YouTube and you can see all the replays. So many different, my gosh, as it relates to power for those of you who prefer to do any kind of power work by yourself. And if you've already done all the work by yourself, right? Because plenty of us have done a lot of healing and transformational work by ourselves. If you've reached that very natural or an organic place where you're done working by yourself, you realize that you actually can't even go any further by yourself because you will reach that point where you're not going to go further by yourself. And you feel called to my community. And I recommend, even if you feel called to another community, that you go there. It's a game changer, especially when the community is sincere about full power. But if you feel called to my community, that you come to the Womanhood Initiation by going to the link in my bio and registering. And remember, even if you can't make the date and time on Monday, there are 3 more coming up, and you will most likely be able to participate in one of those. So go ahead and register, even if you can't make it to next Monday's initiation. Thanks, Shakti. So this is actually it. The piece of it just came through what I was going to share. So I love this. I'm not even sure everything I'm getting ready to say, but I love the sensation around it. So as you start to do this work of emotional refinement, see YouTube, aren't you glad I didn't end it? As you start to do this work of emotional refinement, as I shared here about how to start to access the ticking time bombs in yourself, so you can be emotionally available to help yourself and help others versus running and hiding and projecting and unconsciously avoiding life. And so once you start really doing what I've shared here today, or even doing what other things you've been called to do that you've been procrastinating on, the beautiful thing about this, and I hope this inspires you in some kind of a way, is some of you either are or you've been on the receiving end of somebody who has not had the emotional capacity to be with you. Yes or no? Pretty much all the women who I work with have lived very isolating lives because people don't see them. They don't have the capacity to be with them. And this could be a man or a woman, right? They can't see you. They misunderstand you. They don't have the capacity. They project. They're unavailable. So their system is unavailable. And how many of you can own the fact that at different points in your life, you have been unavailable emotionally for other people? Whether it's if you're a therapist, right? And a client brought something to you that you couldn't be with because maybe it hit something in you that was yet to be reconciled. Mm? A man brought something to you that you couldn't be with, and you, instead of owning that, you blamed him or pushed him away or didn't want to talk about it. Or somebody brought a conversation to you, brought an attitude to you, brought some other kind of way of being or conversation to you, and instead of you having the capacity to enter it with them and really see them, because that's what we're looking for. Do they see me? Do they get me? Do they understand me? So you're unable, if you're honest, right? For some of you, you've been unable to engage in certain conversations with certain people because maybe you were busy judging them because it didn't make sense to you. Or you feel like a man shouldn't be feeling like this. And so you pulled back and maybe you shamed him for it. Or maybe your kids brought you a question that you didn't know how to answer it, or you didn't want to be honest with them about it, or, you know, you just did not have the emotional capacity because something in you was untouched or yet to be resolved or confusing or unconscious to you, because a lot of this stuff is unconscious behavior. And the beautiful thing about deliberately going into the ticking time bombs in yourself and helping yourself so you can help others, because remember, you think you're helping other people, but you're really helping yourself. Because how are you even really helping people if you're not available emotionally to give them clean attention, right? Present with depth about yourself, because you've excavated and gone deep up inside yourself. So you have so much space inside yourself to be with the good and the bad, the daggers that, you're not so busy taking shit personal that you can't hear them correctly. You're not so busy judging and projecting and tensing your body, listening to them, or trying to seem like you care, that you're not even cleanly, truly available for them. And when you start doing this work to get yourself home with your own self, where you feel no need to project anything, to judge anything, to deny anything, to reject, to create distortions, because it feels better to hear it this way and experience it this way, because The truth of it felt a little bit too, ow, like all the sophisticated ways that we are unavailable emotionally to be with the fullness of another human being, or the unleashing of another human being, or the emotionality of another human being, or the shame of another human being, or the rawness, my God, the rawness of another human being. People have such backgrounds that they have shame about. People have so many skeletons and things that they feel like were mistakes, and things they did when they were younger, things they did when they were a tired single mom, things they did when they were broke, things they did out of desperation, things they did when they didn't know themselves, things they did when they were with this particular man, things they did because they were mad at life and was contemplating suicide, things that, so the people in your life right now, your boss, your colleagues, your friends, your sisters, your men in your life, your dad, everybody got these things going on. And so often people are communicating us and wanting us to be available emotionally to be with them. What else is the purpose of your relationship with these people who are in your life? Whether they're a client, your father, your husband, boyfriend, lover, a female friend, etc. Do you want them to be available for you, right? For the ones who you do want to be available for you, your good friend, your husband, your right? The people who you do want to be available to you and they lack the capacity to be with you, and vice versa. People who want you to be emotionally available where you're not judging and projecting and over there like giving them the look on the face because you're in your own self. You would judge your own self that way, which is why you judge them. When you clear all this stuff up by deliberately going in and uncovering the ticking time bombs that are repressed within inside yourself, you end up being such a high quality human. You become such a high quality human. You're so much more present for your children. You're so much more present for the men in your life. You will actually, there'll be people who don't want to be around you because you can see, and they actually don't want to be seen. They still want to walk around life like hidden in plain sight. As I talked about, they want to sit and smile and just like simply shoot the shit. But because you've cleaned out yourself, you can see all that. And some people don't want to be seen. But that's a value, whether they can accept that or not. You just become such a better lover. You make love better. You can handle arguments and fights better. You can handle other people's shit better. And a lot of things that where people clash, like where you may be currently clashing with people, or you see other people clashing with people. That's like two people who lack the capacity to be with disagreements or differences or darkness or shameful things. And there's lots of ignorance and unrefined emotionality just hitting each other, just hitting each other. And when you decide to do this high level work that I've already instructed you on how to begin to do in this live stream, so you start to clear your own self where you don't have all this repressed emotional shame and tightness in your body, and you're at the computer like this, and you walk around life sort of suspicious and suspecting and hiding and playing small. You on an energy level, you walk around like this, and you have sex kind of just to get it done, and you got to cook, and you busy, and you give yourself to doing this work because you want to be a better mom, a better psychotherapist, a better human. You want to get married and you want to be a healthy husband or wife. You want to have a healthy relationship with your mom. You want to, yeah, and you do this work, and my God, you just become such a better human that has emotional capacity. And this is the piece right here that I just realized. Things that would normally have you be in friction with each other, people will come into your presence and a lot of shit will just dissolve itself because you have the space to absorb. I'm telling you, if you want this, you need to come to my womanhood initiation. If you're a psychotherapist, if you're a coach, a medicine woman, a reader, a healer, a high-level coach, a transformational coach, a speaker, you deal with people, you deal with problems, you're in management at work, you're a mom, you have young kids, you plan to be a mom, you're a wife, having challenging issues with your husband, boyfriend, lover, or you plan to be a wife, if you are conflicting with friends and you felt like you haven't been the friend that you want to be, and you are aware, you can see very clearly that there's emotional refinement required in yourself, and you want the real thing, not just like a quick, well, but you really want to know yourself and help yourself so that naturally you are a help to other beings because of the quality of the human that you are, and you feel drawn to me and my community, please make your way to my Womanhood Initiation, okay? Up at the link in the bio, click that link. There are 6 options, I think. Click Womanhood Initiation and register. And again, even if you can't make Monday, which is happening at 4 p.m. Pacific, we have Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and they're all happening at different times on those days. And it's probably very likely that you will be able to attend one of those days. And that Womanhood Initiation is your gateway into my woman community where we do this work. And it's sensational. Sensational. All right. That's my word for today. YouTube, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. If you'd like to sign up for the Womanhood Initiation, the link is in the description of this video. See you soon.